Hey everybody, this is Joel Hoekstra from Whitesnake and Trans-Siberian Orchestra. I want to give you some cool, clean ideas today for just a standard progression. So if you're anything like me, there's been 10,000 times in my career I've been given a 4-chord progression by somebody who's either strumming it on acoustic or playing it on a different instrument, or it's just kind of open for you to fill in, but I'm just going to go with the chords E minor, C, G, and D. So there might be a singer who came to you with their song. And you're thinking, what do I do with this to make it cool? Okay, so I want to just give you some cool, clean voicings that might help you dress this up. The first batch is just taking E minor and playing it as an E minor 9. I'm getting open, the 2nd fret on the A, the 4th on the D, the open G, the 3rd on the B, and the high E open, okay? Those that haven't done that before, it's a great technique when you're on that you want that sparkle clean is to kind of rake back by the bridge. Get that kind of clean spank off that stuff. Okay, now we're switching to the C chord, right? So what do? Just move your first finger up to C and don't play the low E. So we're just going to take that. Technically, it's called a C major 9 add sharp 11. All those chord names that you hear are just based on scale steps and intervals. If you haven't taken your theory courses, I recommend everybody do that. It's always interesting to know and understand why a chord is called what it's called. Now I just want to, for G, move our bass note up a string to G. We're going to hang that over enough that the A string is just kind of dead if we were to strum. And then for the D chord, I'm just going to take the same shape of a C chord and just move it up. And you could really arpeggiate through a chord, which is breaking it up note by note. For those that don't understand technically what an arpeggio is, it doesn't have to be a sweep arpeggio. It can be just breaking down a plain old chord note by note. You could really do anything you want with arpeggiating through it, but I came up with just a nice straight, steady example for the magazine. And here's the way that sounds. Okay, so what else can we do with this, you ask me? Well, I'll tell you what you can do with it. You can take your first finger on the 3rd fret of the high E, your pinky on the 7th fret of the B, and your 3rd finger on the 7th fret of the G. It's a little bit of a stretch. Okay, but you get that nice, ringy, jangly clean from that. Now, you just have to find a way to get our bass notes filled in. And I should add, sometimes if you're in a situation where you have a bass player playing those notes, you don't always have to do them. But in a situation where it's just me by myself right now, it's going to sound best for you guys if I'm playing them, or if you're on your own. So why not learn it, right? So here's what I came up with in terms of arpeggiating with that little scene there. We're going to get E. And again, do whatever you want as far as the arpeggiation goes. This is pretty active, but it's because we're playing on our own. In general, you want to play minimalistic and probably strum a chord and then play between the vocal phrases so your phrase is heard and becomes a hook in a song. For those that aren't all that experienced with working with a band or working on sessions, that's in general what I would do with it. But for the exercise purposes in the magazine, this sounds really cool. Okay, so exercise 3. I just moved us up to right here where I'm getting the 10th fret on the high E, the 8th fret on the B, and the 11th fret on the G. And again, just kind of making our way through the bass note changes. So we're going to play the E bass note here, the C bass note here, the G, and the D here, okay? And here's what I came up with in terms of the arpeggiation for it, but again, feel free to do it however you want. The idea is loosely based here. Here's the way exercise 3 sounds. So one more point I should be making, that when you're playing these open strings, like when I'm playing the open E at the beginning, when I go to this C, I'm getting rid of that low E with my palm. So it would sound weird if it kept ringing. So I'm just getting rid of that with my right hand. Okay, so continuing to move us up here, exercise 4, I've got us up to 12th on the high E, the 15th on the B, and the 16th on the G. Okay, now, again, just kind of finding the correct bass notes here. We're going to play the E there, the C there, also with the middle finger, the G here, and the D, by barring then for this note. So anyway, here's the way exercise 4 sounds from the magazine. So the next thing you could do, which is always fun, is to incorporate harmonics. E minor is a great key for that. Those that don't know the actual notes they're playing with natural harmonics on 12, 7, and 5 are the plays that most people start with them. You're actually getting the notes of the open string here, as open strings, when you play the harmonics on 12. So you're playing E, A, D, G, B, E. When you're playing harmonics on the 7th fret, where they also come out naturally, you're playing the actual, what the fretted notes would be: B, E, A, D, F sharp, and B. And of course, when you get to the 5th fret, it's really just the octave of what you're playing here on 12. It's the open strings again, so E, A, D, G, B, E. Okay, so always kind of nice to understand what notes you're playing instead of just blindly going after it and thinking it sounds cool, because sometimes you can realize, oh, I could make that work. If these notes work in a chord, then it should work with these harmonics. Anyway, what I wrote out in the exercise is taking the harmonics on the 12th fret, but changing the bass notes. So now you say, well, why does that work? Well, that's just a C major 7. It'd be the same as if you took a C chord and played that B string open. So I'm just, again, just really outlining that whole E minor to C. Okay, now for G, right? Doesn't a G chord look like this right here? So it makes sense that these 12th fret or the open strings would work as harmonics. And for the D, there's a D chord right there, right? So I got a little fancy by putting the suspended in here on the 5th fret of the G. So we'd have So something else that can really work well, outside of just finding all these different inversions and changes that we can add to E minor, C, G, and D, is just to drone with harmonics or find a drone part fretted. But I gave you a couple harmonic drone examples of things that would just work throughout. We're going to get the 7th fret harmonic on the G, the 12th on the high E, and just kind of repeat that a string higher. So the 7 on the D, 12 on the B, 7 on the A, 12 on the G, 12 on the D. So we have which would sound fantastic as these changes go by. I don't have my looper handy here, but hopefully you can record yourself playing the chords at home and check out that harmonic drone. And here's the second harmonic drone. The 7 on the B, 12 on the E, 7 on the G, 12 on the B, 7 on the D, 12 on the G. Then we're going to go 12 on the D and resolve to the 7 on the A string. The reason that sounds good is we're getting back to that E note there at the end. So. Anyway, I find that those are cool, cool extensions on clean stuff. So anyway, I hope that gives you guys some cool clean chord, real world type applications, and please, use them for springboards for your own ideas, and the sky's the limit for you.